Yes, good afternoon, all of you. Let's start our today's session. So, in yesterday's session, we have discussed k nearest neighbor. Okay, we have discussed k nearest neighbor, and we have seen that how it works. So, only problem was, let's say, if we are having even number of neighbors, then it may create problem. Or every time we have to calculate the distance from all the points. Okay, we have to search for the neighbor. Because in today's lab implementation, we have seen that before coming to conclusion, before assigning label uh, to particular object, we have to calculate the distance. Another approach to implement k nearest neighbor is weighted k nearest neighbor. Okay. Another approach is weighted k nearest neighbor. So what we will do, we will assign weight. We will assign weight to the neighbor. Okay, but how we will assign the weight? How we will assign the weight? Weight, yes, the nearest neighbor will have the higher weight. Okay, and the you can say far neighbor which is far from sample, we will have lower weight. So there is a equation for assigning weight. Okay, so how weight will be assigned? Weight will be 1 divided by distance between object and sample. Distance between you can say sample or data set object. Okay, so if the neighbor is closer, then this value distance will be lower. Okay, so weight will be higher. Okay, and if it is far, then distance will be more. Okay, and weight will be low. So depending on it, okay, depending on the weight, we will calculate the or we will assign the label. We will assign the label to the new sample. So this is a weighted k nearest neighbor. What is the advantage of k nearest neighbor algorithm? It is robust. Why it is robust? Because it averages the noisy data. It averages the noisy data. Okay. In today's lab implementation, we have seen that we will implement the square root function. Okay, so the contribution of noisy data will be reduced. It will be reduced. But what is another problem with this? Problem with the KNN is curves of dimensionality. Okay, so you people know that we have calculated the Euclidean distance. So the larger the number of dimension, the lengthier the calculation will become. Okay, it will take more time to calculate the distance. Okay, and again, if we have not done the scaling and all these things, we have not done the data transformation, then what will happen? Calculation will be very large, and resulting answer will be also very large. And applying mathematical function on the larger values will be time consuming. Okay, and it will also consume more amount of memory. So that is known as curves of dimensionality, and we have to apply the data transformation as well. Okay, so curves of dimensionality means the larger number of dimensions, more you can say process, or you can say more calculation time, more time required to calculate the distance. So that is the curves of dimensionality. That is the downside with the uh, k nearest neighbor algorithm. Now let's try to understand what is supervised learning and what is unsupervised learning. This is something like movie. Okay, they will show us initial 5 to 10 minutes of movie, and then they will give us all the details. Okay, so now let's understand what is supervised learning and what is unsupervised learning. So supervised learning. Supervised learning is a kind of learning where learning take place with label, with label. Okay, so you will have idea that this object is belonging to which class. This object is belonging to which class. Okay, one of the best example of supervised learning is again I am repeating same example multiple times. So your learning could be better. If I will show you mango and if I will ask you that what is this, then what you will tell me, that you will tell me characteristics or you will tell me label, you will directly tell me label. Okay, how you have decided the label, how you have decided the label, looking at the characteristics. Okay, this is shape, this is color. Okay, and then you will tell me. Now if further I will ask you that whether this is ripened mango or not, then again you will give me the label or characteristics. Label, it is a ripened mango. How you will decide? By looking at the color characteristics. Okay, so this is the example of supervised learning. This is the example of supervised learning. We will have a label and we will have set of attribute, and for each attribute we will have some value. Okay, so instead of representing that object using multiple value, what we will do, we will give label. Okay, new data. Okay, how you will test it, how you will test your model, whatever you have done. So for that, you will use the training and testing set. Okay, so using training, we will create the model, and using testing, we will test the model, whether it is learned properly or not, whether it has learned properly or not. Okay, this is something like you people are writing question bank for, let's say, final exam preparation. Okay, if your first mid-semester exam marks are not up to the mark, okay, then we will ask you to write it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Okay, let's say out of 30, if you are having mark less than 20, then I will ask you to write down the question bank for 1 time. If it is below 50, then I will ask you to write down for 3 or 4 times. If it is below 10, then I will ask you to write down it for 5 times or 10 times. Okay, so training. Okay, I will give you training. I will ask you to train yourself in that subject for multiple times, so your learning gradually improve. So you will have a level in case of supervised learning, and in unsupervised learning we don't know level, we don't know level. Let me give you example of unsupervised learning. Let's say you are visiting some of your close relatives newly acquired house. You are visiting that location for first time. Then how you will recall the path, how you will recall the path when next time you are visiting that same relative's home. Landmarks, yes. How you will give address to your friend? Label. Okay, how your friend will visit your home? Unsupervised learning. Okay, they will ask, they will remember lots of characteristics. Okay, and then they will come to your home. Okay, so in classification, instead of feature, we will have label. Okay, but in unsupervised learning, we don't know label, so we will have features. We will have features. Okay, that is unsupervised learning. Why it is unsupervised learning? Because you don't know label. You don't have knowledge of that label. What is the label that you are going to give it to, you are going to give? Okay, so that's why whatever we are learning in our routine, okay, all these things are label learning. If I ask you that what is this, what is this? Pen. Okay, why? Why you didn't tell me all the attribute? Because you know the characteristics of pen and you told me direct label. If I will show you something unknown, then you will start telling me characteristics. It is looking like this, it is testing like this, okay, its shape is like this. Yes, then you will try to measure the similarity. Then you will try to measure the similarity and you will try to classify into non-label category, whatever label you know. Okay, if I will give you mocktail, then what will happen? You will try to evaluate the test. Yes, okay, you will try to evaluate each test, each element of the mocktail test. Okay, yes. Then, yes, then you will give some unknown label. Then you will give some unknown label. Let's say how this soda maker, this soda shop owners are selling mocktail. They will give their own name. Okay, for example, they have mixed soda, ice, lemon, sugar, and we call it pudina, mint. Okay, and what label they have given? Mojito. What label they have given? Mojito. Okay, why? Because it was not matching with any of the existing label. It is one of the best example of unsupervised learning. Okay. Now, if someone will drop cherry into that drink, then cherry mojito. Why? Because you are having one label cherry, another label mojito. So you have combined both, and you have created a new class, that is cherry mojito. Okay, so same thing will happen. Same thing will happen in case of unsupervised learning. Whenever you are using clustering, you will try to match the attribute of two objects. Okay, so that is the example of unsupervised learning. So the class level of training data is unknown. We don't know. Given set of measurement, observation, etc., with the aim of establishing existence of class or cluster in the data. So, if you people can imagine the k-nearest neighbor, okay, if you people can imagine k-nearest neighbor, once you will define the circle, okay, you will consider all as the same class. Then for each sample, again you will find k-nearest neighbor. For each circle, again you will find k nearest neighbor. Okay, so if you will implement recursive process of k nearest neighbor, then it will give you cluster. Then it will give you cluster. Okay, then it will give you cluster. Okay, so how you will define cluster? It is a group of objects where characteristics are similar or it is matching. It is nearby to actual or all the objects of that cluster are having the same object characteristics. Okay, so that is unsupervised learning. That is how you learn without label. You don't know what is this, so you will start mixing. Okay, until you don't find a significant difference, you will keep merging all these things, and then you will form the case. Yes, initially when human being has started learning, okay, so whatever we call, let's say water. Okay, so water is also a label. Water is a label, hair is a label, nose is a label. So whatever language, actually we are speaking the language of label. Okay, if someone will tell that I will hit you, okay, then all the characteristics of hitting, you will remember. You can visualize. Okay, But let me tell you one some unknown thing. That can you tell me the can you tell me that how the sand of Mars feel? How do you feel sand of Mars? Huh? No, well, I'm just asking that if you will take the normal sand or soil, okay, then you can feel it. Okay, but if I will ask you that how you will feel, then can you say why? Because it is unknown. You are roaming in space, okay, and some object is coming towards your spaceship. Okay, and then what you will do, you will try various spectrometer and all these things, but that object is not fitting into any of the category. Then many times we are coming across this terminology, an unknown object is detected in space. Okay, or in terms of let's say flying object, they call it UFO. They have given a common class that is UFO. Okay, so if that object is not known, then UFO, unknown flying object. Yes. So that is unsupervised learning. Why? Because we don't know that which kind of ignition system is there, which kind of fuel system is there, how many people are operating it. So that is the example of unsupervised learning. So I hope you people are clear with supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Okay, many times in when we were child and our mother asked us to go to provision store and bring the cornflake. Okay, then many times it happened that we forget the name, and we will go to the shop owner. We will ask them that it is that yellow color size is approximately 1 rupees coin. Okay, and we can consider it in snack. Okay, so these all are the characteristics. So it is unsupervised learning for you, but for shop owner, it is supervised. That is conflict. So now you will learn that instead of telling all these characteristics, conflict. Got it? Clear? Anybody from online is having any doubt in this? Okay, we are considering simple terminology. Okay, so in machine learning there won't be conflict or address or like kind of. Okay, because in machine learning we people will be using data set. Okay, and each data set will have set of attributes. But you can map this terminology, you can map this analogy directly on data set. Okay, but in while you are doing unsupervised learning, then also you have to use the label data for validation. Okay, because let's say if I'm creating an unsupervised learning model. Okay, but how I will test it? Are you getting? If I'm giving you an unsupervised trained model or self-learning model, but how I will test it? Okay, so I have to use the label data to test the unsupervised learning algorithm. There are lots of clustering algorithms which are part of unsupervised learning. Many times it will feel like philosophy. Many times it will feel like philosophy. Okay, but whenever you will try to implement all these things, only this concept you will be able to visualize. Then and then you will be able to implement. Let's go with supervised learning. So in supervised learning, we are having multiple options. Classification is there, prediction is there. Okay, so what is classification and what is prediction? So most of time, prediction will be used whenever we want to predict some value. Predict some value means ultimately in classification we will be predict a value. Okay, but if that value is number, then it will be prediction, and if that value is label, then it is classification. Okay, so if I want to predict the value of sensex, then it will become prediction, then it will become prediction. Okay, but if I want to know the type of fruit, then it will become classification. Okay, why? Because in classification we will have fixed set of label. In classification we will have fixed set of label, and this out of this set of label, only one label will be assigned to object. Okay, so that is classification. And in prediction we will try to predict the value. So prediction will be purely mathematical. Prediction will be purely mathematical, and whenever you are working with some of the algorithm, like let's say k-nearest neighbor, artificial neural network, support vector machine, so these algorithms accept only mathematical data. These algorithms accept only mathematical data. Okay, so if your data contains categorical data or string or label, okay, then you have to convert those label into mathematical symbol, and then you can feed that data set to those models. Okay, in simple word we can say prediction algorithm we can use with classification as well, by converting categorical data into mathematical symbol. But classification algorithm we cannot use in prediction. Okay, so ultimately whenever you will use any data set, wherever you will see data set in real life scenario, most of time it will be numerical only. Why? Because computer can process, algorithm can process only numerical data. Prediction algorithm. Okay, and based on prediction, later on whatever outcome is there, that outcome you can assign to label. That outcome you can assign to label. Okay, let's say if I will show you one object, and then computer will tell that this object is 90% computer, 70%, or you can say mobile, 10% projector. Okay, so I have set the threshold that if it is above 90%, okay, then that class will be considered. Okay, so probability is 90%, it is for label computer. Okay, so then that label will be assigned computer to particular object. Okay, so prediction can be converted into the classification. Okay, but classification cannot be converted into prediction. Okay, this is something like percentage can be converted into grades. Percentage can be converted into grades. Okay, percentage is numerical value, but grades cannot be converted into percentage. Why? Because we don't have sufficient data to calculate the percentage. So percentage is numerical prediction and grade is classification. Grade is classification. Clear? All of you clear with this? Okay, so let's look at the content. Classification, predict the categorical class level. Discrete or nominal. Discrete means, well, I hope you people are familiar with discrete and continuous value. Okay, so discrete or nominal. Nominal means this categorical data. So classify data based on the training set value in a classifying attribute and uses it in classifying the new data. So it will learn and then it will try to answer your question. What is numeric prediction? Model continuous valued function. As I told you, if you are having continuous value, it predicts the unknown or missing values. Like temperature prediction, weather forecasting. Okay, your Credit limit, that based on the income and let's say spending habit, how much credit should be given to a person. Okay, so that is also example of prediction. Credit limit will be in terms of number, not in terms of level. Okay, but later on, let's say we can convert that number to level. That if score is in this range, then we can say A credit. If it is in this range, B, C, D. So then later on we can assign it level. So where we can use it? Credit or loan approval. Okay. So previously, if you will apply for loan, they will ask you lots of documents. Then they will ask that you come after 5 or 7 days. So we will tell you whether you are eligible for loan or not. Okay. But nowadays they will ask that you just give your last 3 year IT return. They will add the annual income. They will add the saving. Okay. And they will simply tell you whether you are eligible for loan or not. Okay, and if you are eligible for loan, then they will immediately tell you that we cannot give you 80% loan. Okay, like let's say if we are registering for a new house for 30 lakh, okay, then you cannot apply for 24 lakh. Okay, but you can get 18 or 17 lakh. Okay, so how they are telling all these things based on the prediction. Okay, they have said certain standard. Okay, medical diagnosis. So if tumor is cancerous or benign, so based on the characteristics, it will try to predict. It will try to predict the level. Here it is level, whether it is cancerous or benign. Next is fraud detection. So fraud detection will be again part of numeric prediction, but later on they will assign level whether a person is fraud or not. Web page categorization. That is an example of classification based on this is part of SEO, search engine optimization. So they will look at the meta tag in your HTML page, and if you mention proper keyword into the meta tag, okay, then they will categorize your page into certain categories. Okay, that's why let's say if you are going with some good developer, they will always ask you to provide the keyword on each page. So they will put those keyword in meta tag, so your page will have higher ranking in Google search. Let's see what is classification or what is supervised learning, how supervised learning will take place. Anybody from online is having any doubt, any query, any question? Okay. What is classification? Can we directly take your exam? No. Why? Because you need to learn first. Okay, first you have to learn. Okay, and then you have to appear for the exam. Okay, so same thing will happen in case of classification. It is a two-step process. Model construction and then model validation. Testing, we call it testing. We will validate whether our requirements are satisfied or not. So, what is model construction phase? Let me tell you. In model construction phase, let's say we are having 300 or 400 number of attribute. Out of that, we will select certain number of attribute, and then we will create a model, we will train you. Let's say if we are having full syllabus, then from full syllabus I will tell you that these concepts are very important. Okay, or this concept should be covered. This can be learned in upcoming stage or in advanced stage. Okay, so based on that, we will select some topic, then I will teach you that topic, and then I will take the test. So, uh, what is model construction? Model construction is describing a set of predetermined classes, and each tuple sample is assumed to belong to a predefined class as determined by the class level attribute. So here we are specifying the attribute of data set. The set of tuple used for model construction is called training set. Okay, the theory content which I am delivering to you people in class, it is training set. Okay, the problem which you will be answering in exam, that is testing set. That is testing set. Okay, so theoretical explanation is training, and question answer it is testing. So same will happen in case of data set as well. So you will train the model using data set, and then you will test the model whether it is learned properly or not. So the model is represented as a classification rule, decision tree, or mathematical formula, or weight, or you can say equation of line. So model can be anything. Okay, model can be anything. So it is not like that training will be always, it will always give us fixed output. No, it is not like that. It depends on the algorithm, which algorithm we are using. Okay, and that specific algorithm will give us specific model. For example, if we are using neural network, then it will give us the set of weight from input layer to output layer. If we are using support vector classifier, then it will give us optimized pair of support vectors, or you can say equation of line, hyperplane. Okay, if we are using Navy base, okay, then it will give us set of probabilities. It will give us, let's say we are using decision tree algorithm, then it will give us entire tree architecture, train tree architecture. So next time you want to test it, you simply test by value. That's it. Okay. So model can be anything depending on the algorithm. Okay. So at the end of training, at the end of model construction, we will have a well settled, or you can say tuned parameter. Tuned parameter. Next is model usage. So what we will do in next phase, whatever model we have created, we will try to give some unseen sample to it. Then we will check whether it is labeling that data properly or not. Okay, or how much accuracy or how much error is there, you know. Okay, so model usage, what we will do, we will estimate the accuracy of the model. Okay. Now, here it is only mentioned accuracy. Okay, but in terms of machine learning, we will be focusing on true positive rate, false positive rate, ROC, sensitivity, specificity. Okay, we will consider whatever measures we have studied in previous lectures. We will consider all these measures. Okay, by why? Because by only accuracy we cannot say that whether it is learned properly or not. Okay, so that's why many times the people who are technically sound, okay, then they will student who are technically sound, they will complain that sir, if you will take the practical exam, then you will know that who are good at learning. Okay, why? Because we are focusing on accuracy. How much you are omitting properly in exam. It was the only component previously, but later on, practical exam, Viva, lab, continuous evaluation, all this came into the picture. Okay, and By combining multiple parameters, we will evaluate whether you have learned properly or not. Okay. Previous evaluation system was only about percentage. That is accuracy. Okay, but now multiple component credit, choice based system. So that is learning. Okay, previously it was memory power, now it is learning. So we will, instead of only considering accuracy, we will consider other parameters as well while we are evaluating the model. Okay. Now we are having two options to test your learning. Either I will ask you from the topic which I have covered in class, or I will ask you the question which we have not discussed in class. Usually, students are creating lots of memes, or you can say memes on this. That in class they will ask the circuit, they will explain the circuit with 2 or 3 resistor and capacitor. Okay, and in laboratory they will give exercise with 5 resistor and 5 capacitor and 5 inductor. And in exam they will ask 100 resistor, 100 capacitor, and 100 inductor. Okay, we are also using social media, so we know that this kind of image is being circulated in social media about faculties. So we are having two approach. Either I will ask from whatever I have learned, or whatever I have taught. Okay. So in that case, I will use training set as a testing. Or if I will ask you unsolved exercise, which we have not solved, then in that case, we are having separate training test, separate training set and separate testing set. I will train you with separate label or separate objects. Other than label, we will call it object. Okay, and I will test you with unknown. Let's say if you are going with the separate testing set, then your accuracy will be low. Why? Because those samples are unseen. And this is where machine learning is focusing. That how to deal with this kind of issues. Okay, and if the accuracy is acceptable, so not only accuracy but TP rate, FP rate, sensitivity, specificity, F1 score, precision, recall, if all these attributes, measures are acceptable, then we can use that model in real time. Okay, and still there are lots of errors. Okay, there will be lots of error. That's why in many conditions, Tesla autopilot mode won't work, or it will stop working, specifically in heavy traffic area. Okay, and in India, let's say that if they are introducing Tesla in India, then whatever neural network they will train in India, okay, that will be acceptable worldwide. Okay, except Pakistan. Because we will give them worse training. We will give that Tesla neural network worst training. Okay, beyond that, it is not, it is impossible, not impossible, but impossible. Okay, so that model will be very robust to error or noisy data. Okay, and it will work very well in foreign countries where people follow the traffic rules. Okay, so Tesla is launching vehicle in India and we are, oh, Tesla is coming, Tesla is coming. No, it is not like that. Tesla is improving their product by introducing that product into India. Okay, Google is asking you to mark the image where there is a traffic light or cars. Many times it will happen. Okay, if there is a frequent request from one IP address. Okay, if you will try to access Google from campus, and Google will ask you to click on the images where there is a car, or there is a tree, or there is a bus, there is a train, plane, traffic light. Okay, so in all these 16 images, 2 or 3 images will be correct. Okay, and some of the images to be labeled, some of the images to be labeled. Okay, so that Google is doing free of cost. It is Google is asking you to do it free of cost without paying single penny. That is labeling the data. Okay, previously it was CAPTCHA. Okay, if any unknown word is there, what they will do, they will take image and they will publish it everywhere. Okay, so if majority is people are voting that this is Apple, okay, then they will consider it as Apple. How that is how OCR will work, optical character recognition. So they will use that label, whatever you have given, in training that algorithm. Okay, so nobody is providing any free lunch. Okay, in near future it may happen that Google may ask you to pay 500 rupees or 1000 rupees per month to use the Google service. Huh? So you just wait for some time. No, you just wait for some time. They are just improving their system. They are just improving their system. Believe me, after 5 to 8 years, Google will also tell you that if you will go through this path, then your average speed will be 20 kilometers. If you will go through this path, then your average speed can be 60 kilometer per hour. So Google will also give you that data. So these people, tech giants, are improving their product. Okay, and these people are believing that we are getting all these things yes at free of cost. No, you are saving the billions of money, billions of dollars, okay, which they have to pay for training. So there is no free lunch in this world. And in near future, it may be also possible that if you are visiting some location, Google is asking that please upload the photo. Yes, it will ask you to upload the photo. If you will upload the photo, it will detect the object, it will classify it, and then it will show it in Google search. In Google search, that if you are looking for this kind of product, then similar to this product is available on this map, on map on these locations. Okay, so for us it is very simple thing. Oh, Google is giving me city level 2 guide, city level 5 guide, city level 10 guides. Okay, Google is recognizing me as a guide. Okay, but no, it is not like that. It is doing it. Google is saving money by simply giving you virtual happiness. Okay, so these people are very smart. They cannot hire million of people to do their task. So they will put it as a validation. And if you want to use it, I'm just giving you a very simple example. You want to access the Google, then anyhow you have to label those images. Otherwise, Google will not allow you to access the search engine. Okay. So right now they are asking you to validate image, but in future they will ask you to pay, let's say 5 paisa or 10 paisa for searching in Google. It may happen. Okay. Industry is moving far and moving fast beyond our imagination. We cannot even imagine it. Okay, one proverb that you have to always remember: there is no free lunch in this world. Okay, nobody is giving anything for free. You have to pay everything. Okay, Google has used your learning in labeling the image. Whatever learning you have acquired in detecting the object, Google has transferred that learning from you to Google server. And in that way, it is transferring learning from billions of people to. This is nothing but machine learning. This is another way to learn. This is called inference, transfer learning. Okay, so unless it is not necessary, don't provide, don't share your detail everywhere. Yes. Let's do one thing. Let's keep up to this. Okay. In this session, I hope you people have enjoyed this. Anybody is having any doubt in this from online session?